All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well today. Let me see if I can. Hold on one sec. Let me see if I can output or boost the output just slightly. Um, Here we go. All right, that should be better. Yep. I was like, oh no, I'm only getting like 2 bars of red here. All right, so you can hear my voice is not fully back yet, but it's doing all right. Yeah, rough practice. So we have a scrimmage tomorrow, and then our first summer tournament on Saturday. So yeah, kids were not where they were supposed to be. My two were being the biggest babies. Yeah, so we had plenty of lecture afterwards. I was like, you guys are my kids. You should be working the hardest out here, not the least hard. So yeah, they went back to their mom's house and had some things to think about. But yeah, I'm not dad. I'm the coach, so I'm allowed to be that dad. Cool, thank you, Will. Yeah, well, I don't. There's not sound pumped into it naturally, particularly with the Nadex presentation. I have the sound, the overall system sound turned off, and just the microphone going in. But I have to switch those two back and forth so the music comes in and doesn't come back in. So that's why it's not always there. But yesterday I remembered to turn the microphone on for Twitch. Normally I forget to turn the microphone on because it's still stuck on the sound setting. So yeah, total fail on my part. But actually yesterday I think I did it all right, or pretty much right. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, let's dive into things today. As you can see, I'm not expecting this to be a busy week. You can see it's pretty slow. Last 24 hours, pound is about the only thing moving. Dollar yen is close, but again, pound up 40, down 29, and up 18 is really the most bit of movement we have. Dollar basically is flat. I mean, look at the euro. Yesterday morning, if you remember the Nadex presentation, I think it was 6 pips off in 24 hours. Now we're at 0 in 24 hours. So it's really a week of really just slow movement. And you can see, actually, look at this. The first latest story is consolidation is the flavor of the day. And again, this happens in the summer. Typically, currencies gets pretty slow in July. It tends to start to pick up in August, and then September, when people are back to business, is when it starts to move. Um, in recent years, August has gotten to be a bit better. August is, again, traditionally, if you read the books, August is also bad. But the last couple of years, August has actually picked up as well. This year, again, this is doing what it typically does in July. It gets rather slow. You need to drop down to lower time frames, take smaller risk, and go for smaller moves. It is really what you need to do. It does make Nadex trading a bit more interesting, again, because you need movement. So I mean, think about it. Any binaries you've placed over here in the euro, have they done well? Probably not, because you're just not getting the movement, right? You need to have the movement, particularly when you have that expiration value involved with it. So yeah, it's there. What are you gonna do? All right. So for today, obviously crude oil comes in. James posted that last week that I guess that they have. What did you say, James? That there's a surplus. I believe there's a surplus this week. Where is it? Yeah, estimated a build of crude oil inventories of 2 million barrels. So that's what the American Petroleum Institute is saying. As you can see here, the crude oil inventories, they're forecasting it's -3. So that's about a 5 million barrel difference there. Which, again, we're going to look at oil. You would assume oil would actually react to this and go to the downside, because they're expecting a reduced supply, and it looks like they have an increased supply. So, again, we talked yesterday about some bounces off that 40 area. We'll see if that's where we get the bounces. It's actually been rather flat. I'm shocked we actually didn't get more movement, but it's not there yet. And like I said, currencies are more or less flat. So that's what we got going on today. I don't even think there's much minor news-wise. No, there's not even really much minor news-wise, right? Um, Even this stuff late. I mean, the business confidence, and that'll help a little bit. That may move the New Zealand numbers around tonight at 9. But and again, maybe this 9:30, the Chinese data, the CPI and the PPI data, that may bump it around a little bit. Again, most of the Aussie dollar. Um, that's probably about the best we got today. The bond auction's not going to do much. It's really only crude oil what we have. We don't have too much. Now, interesting too. Check out this unemployment rate. Unemployment rate forecast was 3.6 and only went to 3.3. So unemployment for the Swiss rather low. Didn't spike. You know, I guess having mountains and borders and everything like that worked out well for them. So yeah, that's pretty cool that their unemployment rate is still that low. And look at this. I mean, they were down in the 2.2s. Actually, lower than that. Yeah, 2.2 is or 2.3, I guess, is the lowest they got. But yeah, rather low. They did not see the 12, 13, 14% that Western countries are having. So that's it. So I don't expect today to be a big mover. Grab what you can, take it, and run. That's going to be the best way to handle it, at least in the currency basis. The market, again, will be kind of, let's see, what do we got down here? So economic, China, um, Saudi Arabia. That's interesting. We're keen to strengthen defense relations with Saudi Arabia. Okay. Cyber attacks in the U.S. Great. Bond markets hit negative risk. Yeah. So again, keep your eye on this kind of stuff over here. It's news headlines like this that you will see where the market's moving. That's really kind of the best we have with it right now. Looking at the scanner, again, when there's not a lot of movement, the scanner also kind of, when things are consolidating, scanners and things like that tend not to give you the best kind of feedback. And again, look at the majors. You can see everything minus the CAD and the pound is more or less sideways in consolidation mode. We have an uptrend set up on the dollar CAD as well as a downtrend set up on the pound dollar. And again, kind of seeing that plus 30. But again, this is pound strength, but over here you're seeing dollar strength. So we'll look at both those two and see what we have going on. Euro, look at this. I mean, Euro is basically flat across the board minus Euro CAD. We don't typically look at that in chart school, but again, this is just straight consolidation on the 4-hour, more or less on the 30-minute, and then again, this is the 3-minute, not used for trending. It's used for these two pairs, but actually this one should be, I use 3 sometimes, but I can change it back. Let's change it back to here. Go off 3, go to 5. There we go. Because somebody asked me, well, why is that one at 3? Why are you doing it at 3? So yeah, but we'll see. But more or less just straight consolidation. The euro is just basically like dead right now. There's just nothing in it. CAD is offering a little bit more. Again, there's 2 different confirmations with the CAD yen we will look at. Aussie CAD also as well, and then a couple different setups. Again, that dollar CAD that we saw, CAD Swiss, New Zealand CAD. Again, those are ones we don't typically look in chart school on smaller time frames, but again, the analysis is done exactly the same. Just watch the spread, the spread on that one. It tends to be a bit bigger. Aussie basket. So Aussie basket does have an anchor break in the Aussie yen. We will look at that. Aussie CAD is a confirmation. We won't. That has some setup. That one looks like it has some movement this morning. There's probably a trade sitting there on that one. Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar 7 in 24 hours. This one is kind of, yesterday it spiked up, it missed the zone, it came back down again, missed the zone again, and now has just kind of consolidated in the middle. We'll look at that in a sec. There is a couple small time things above that one, but I feel like this one's going to, again, I don't know how much energy this one's going to have, at least until tonight. I feel like that Chinese number tonight will give us a setup, and I'll show you where we can get into that. And then the pound. Pound is showing strength, a little bit of weakness in the pound dollar. Again, it's up 27, so it's hard to say that, again, we're in downtrend setup mode, in the last 4 hours anyway. Overall for the day, again, it's up. It's not up big, though. I mean, we're only talking about being up 28. So, very minor, much less than a standard ATR. So just keep that on your radar as far as what the movement actually looks like. Coffee. It's the best stuff, man. The best stuff. Let me come over here. All right, so again, scanner right now because it's been so dead today in the last 24 hours. I mean, you can see right now we're -5, 7, 5, and again the pound ones are already starting to level out as well. 27, okay, but again that's 1/4 of what the daily ATR is. So it just shows you how limited movement we have right now inside of the markets. All right, so with that said, let's go over and pull charts and see what we could find for the day. Let's pull this out. We'll minimize that one. It was interesting. I was logging on my phone to do the subscription, the Amazon subscription. I had a 4-second delay total on my phone because I could see obviously what the countdown was on the streaming window, and I was like, wow, there's a 4-second delay to my phone. I'm like, that's crazy. I've never had it be that quick. All right, so Aussie dollar. Again, just a review, for those of you that weren't around yesterday, these were 2 trade setups that we had talked about last week off of different levels. Now, I want to leave this on there just because talking about kind of this formation, when the markets are more like they've been now, where they're just consolidating and going sideways and there's not a whole lot of true, really kind of decision, right? These kind of rollover effects, we obviously like when it's really sharp, little things, right? Where it's straight, one candle, boom, one candle top. This kind of rollover, it's kind of like a muffin top, for lack of a better word, right? You guys all know what muffin tops are. What, delays, Will? Yeah, normally delays are, but I mean, I'm in my, I'm literally bouncing inside of my own house. So, but yeah, normally I can get 8 seconds. but I thought 4 on my phone was awesome. But this kind of like muffin kind of rollover where it gets stuck, and it keep pushes, same thing. It just kind of levels and then explodes out. They're good for about 1 hit, and this is a great kind of example. Actually, this one was 2 hits, almost, you probably would have got stopped. It just missed the profit target and then came back again. And then blew up, and then you can see then it kind of worked for the other direction. But this kind of pattern, unlike our standard very quick patterns that are good for a couple different hits, these I would really only take them once. You can see that this one ended up hitting twice, only one hit the profit target, the other one got close. This one spike in, came right back down to the 1 to 3. This one ended up hitting here and coming down. It didn't quite make it back down another time before spiking through with news and then crashing below. So again, I just wanted to keep those and talk about them before I deleted them. These kind of patterns, right, where you kind of have the drop, the stabilization, maybe some attempts back and forth, but an easy kind of draw with an explosion out. Okay, so I'll delete those now. We can take those all off. We don't need them now. But again, wanted to keep those on there. We explained them yesterday from the Nadex presentation. Actually, you know what I should do? Let's see. Yesterday was the 7th, so let's move this. The 7th at 12, just so I can start getting a reference of where we're at. All right, there we go. So interestingly, we marked that off right now in the lower time frame. You can see really after chart school yesterday, we talked about how it was in a small zone. There could be some type of a rollover, and we did. We got a rollover. It did not retrace all the way back down. It got pretty close. I mean, it actually went to where it should. This pop point is where your profit target should have been on the retrace. That's exactly where it went to, just slightly below that, as you guys can see. Areas that I look for now, again, there's a zone here. It's very small. It's a bit more on the aggressive side, but there is a zone sitting there. We did come up, we did base, and we did kind of, we put a red, green, red and kind of pushed, back to the downside. You got to watch that. So what I would say is probably the 2 areas, and again, this bottom one is not necessarily as strong. It's held pretty well, though. It would be these 2 zones here, looking for top and bottom. I would look for either of these 2 zones, most likely at 10:30 today. The Aussie is not typically associated with oil, as you guys know. It's more associated with gold, but there will be some reaction off of it because of the the U.S. dollar. So the dollar being priced in gold. It can go either direction, really. I mean, I don't know. It's sitting right in the middle right now. And even right now, I would say I would probably more biased for this to flip. You are sitting in a wick over wick, but again, it's in no man's land. Again, we're looking for shorts up top, longs low. There's nothing too crazy in here. I mean, the risk on the bottom side is only about 9. Top side, you're only talking about 9, almost 10, the top side. So make them small. Again, keep that risk little, focus on position sizing, but I don't see this one moving really too far out of the range unless there's something earth-shattering that news comes out and says this morning. And again, that's unpredictable, but I don't know that oil is going to move this too much. Okay, going to Aussie yen. So Aussie yen, this one did have. Let's see, where is it? Aussie yen is showing us an anchor break to the top side on the 4-hour. Okay, I wouldn't say that. Again, we marked off these levels yesterday. The Nadex presentation. Let's see. Let's reset it. 7.7. Right here. Right there. That bigger. Right there. So, as you can see from yesterday, it's dropped about 14 pips and really just gone flat on us. So I wouldn't say that the anchor break is quite valid on this one. That was probably more of a delaying signal. As with yesterday, I would still, again, this is the aggressive entry into that 4-hour zone. And you can see it, it just missed it yesterday at chart school. And all it did was pull back down again to that same level, just like the Aussie, and then just kind of flatlined on us. We're looking for a little push, and we talked about that, getting that little oomph just a little bit farther, and then taking a higher quality entry. We never even made it, and then boom, it flatlined on us. So for Aussie yen, 75.23 and then 74.05 are still kind of the 2 areas that I'm waiting for. This one may be a little bit more like paint drying today. This one tends to not have as much reaction to oil because, again, it's kind of like a proxy, and those 2 proxies kind of wash each other out. So I think the Aussie dollar would be the better of the 2. But again, that's where you're looking for top and bottom. Got to say, not really happy with either one of these 2. And again, even on a 30-minute, where do we have big explosive moves? The lower time frame, if you're looking to get something a little bit more aggressive, you could, again, potentially again, this is a bit more aggressive. There's a zone sitting right here. And again, that would be an hourly zone. We need to kind of rally up about 35 pips. If we can do that, I mean, that you could take a potential 30-minute, reversal on that one off like the 10 o'clock. But again, just be careful of that 10 o'clock reversal because oil comes in at 10:30 this morning. And that's kind of it's okay. I mean, like I said, it's been tested here. Did okay testing it here. Again, pushed it away here. So it's probably good for one hit. But again, time this one with, some type of a 10 o'clock, 10:30-ish reversal. Okay. And that's at 75.05. So again, a bit more aggressive than the 4-hour kind of entries coming in. These zones in here, I'd be a bit more cautious with them. Again, this was, opening up inside of a gap and then kind of pushing higher. But besides that, not really much on there. Okay, not much on there. Yeah, just not much on this guy. All right, so Euro yen. Euro yen, we talked about it as well. Kind of the same setup. I'll move the yellow dot so I can make my analysis next week easier. Let's refresh that. All right, let's see. This would go 6 there at 12 right there. So yeah, so here's where our school was yesterday, or the Nadex presentation yesterday, and you can see we're at the exact same spot. So there's just not enough movement in this one. And again, welcome to July and currencies trading. Obviously, on the smaller time frame, you can see that there's a small area there, but there really wasn't much movement off of it. There was that kind of failure to kind of push back up again. That happened about an hour after yesterday, and that was about the only valid trade in this one. I think we mentioned this, but it just actually it didn't even I guess it did hit it hit over here. It should be adjusted just slightly, but you're talking about only about 25 pips out of that one, so it was not a very, very big one. And the zone is done okay, but again, we have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touches, and we're kind of rattling on it right now. I don't know. This one is purely driven by the yen right now, not the euro, because obviously we know the euro is completely flat. Oops, I didn't want to delete that. There we go. I don't think we're going to get enough movement out of this one. Okay, and again, I would probably adjust a bit. Probably pull this down to 121.80. Bottom side. I mean, honestly, I like the 4-hour better than the hourly. So this green one right here, this is a gap down. So this came with the obviously the change of the week. There is a 4-hour one sitting down here. You can't really see it, but it's here. It's overlaid. We're not really close. I mean, it's going to make trading it a little bit more difficult. But from there, that's kind of where I'd put my top and bottom. Unfortunately, it doesn't help us much for today because we're about 40 from the top and about 60 from the bottom. With a daily ATR of 81, it can obviously hit either of those two. But, I mean, this is where we were yesterday. This is where we are today. And we really only had a drop of about 18 pips. So, rather muted with a spread of 2. It's kind of one of those ones. Is it beautiful? Not so much. But there would be my tops and bottoms for that one as well. 121.80 and 120.72. Again, we need a little bit more movement for this one to kind of come alive. Pound yen. All right, so pound yen, we talked about this level yesterday, this 135.24, and I mentioned that it would be an aggressive entry, but you could obviously use that one. Let's see, let me pull the correct times. 7 at 12 is right here. Okay. 1 sec, guys. Let me mark this off. There we go. There was Nadex. So you can see 135.24, and I'll remove this out of the way, and you can see that we did get the hit of the 124. That gave us basically the only, I think this is the only one that came out of yesterday. It's the only one that I had marked off that I had as tradable. But there was our entry. We got our 3-to-1 on this one. And again, this is kind of what we're looking for right now. When it's this slow, and this one has moved a total of 11 pips in 24 hours, in this case, actually, it's not set perfect. It's right there, right? You're sitting here grabbing 50 pips out of that one in a day. Consider it a win, right? Consider it a win right now. That zone's probably good for one more hit. So again, if you guys want to keep that one on your radar, the 135.26 would be where that level is. Actually, you know what? Let me nope. Do it this way. Oh, the girl's awake. There you go. 135.24. So you're probably good for one more hit. Downside, I'd still be looking out for 134.11. I think that's probably the best entry. We've seen some movement off of it. It wasn't super explosive, but it did hold pretty well and then got front run here. So again, you guys can see here on the hourly. Again, that's more of your aggressive entry. The more conservative would be the 4-hour one, just slightly below, down here at 133.95. Okay, so probably about the only one. The 135.24 is what we're looking for in the pound yen. Pound dollar. So pound dollar is, let's see, up 27 right now. Kind of the same thing. Now this one we also had the same setup, right? Let's see. Let's reset this one. Ooh, girl's very unhappy. It's so funny. The girl wakes up now and she is so angry in the morning. Right there. Okay. Right there. Now, this one's a bit interesting. So let me move this out of the way. Okay. You can see it was the same setup, but this one, you probably missed your entry. I'd love to say, look at that, another one. You probably missed your entry by a few pips. It was rather small. Same kind of setup. I mean, it kind of went down and bounced and just really flatlined. And again, we were here yesterday. You can see that, we're about 20 pips, 25 pips off from where we were, but mostly sideways movement. Even in the overnight, all we got was a push down and a push right back up again. So just kind of a fake out like, yep, it's good. Oh, never mind. Right back to where we were. So zone is probably good as still 125.76. Again, keep your 1 to 3s focused. Your 1 to 5, it's a bit far. There's really not too much stopping it, but you can see how little kind of strength this one has in it. And again, that was a yesterday setup. As I said, you probably, let's see. Yeah, you guys can see here on the 5-minute. You missed it by 2.7 pips. 2.7 entry. So yeah, it did what we wanted it to do. We wanted to pull back down. We wanted to come back up, but we wanted to retest, and it just missed it before it collapsed. So, pound yen was the one to grab. Pound yen was a little bit better of a setup anyway. But yeah, so keep that one on your radar for today, 125.76. Euro pound. So euro pound yesterday, again, let me move this one. That's a 4-hour. We don't need the 4-hour. Let's see. Pull my time. Check it. We're good. All right, 7, 7, and 12. You can see we are right. Oh, it's 7, 3. Hold on. 7, 6, and 12. Right there. Shrink it just a little bit. I don't need that crazy. Right there, 12. All right, so here's where we were yesterday at noon. This one had the same thing this morning. A little bit of a pop, a little bit of retrace, same exact spot. So we had still talked about this as an area here, and I'll bring it up to the 4-hour to make it a little easier. This was an area we talked about pushing through. And again, we made an attempt that made it about 65, 75% of the way through to the bottom. Came back up to grab some more orders. It grabbed them from an area that we expected to see them. You guys can see that, again, there are some orders right in here, and that's kind of what we, right there, that's what we pulled back up into. I think it'll make another attempt. I think it'll push back down to the 89.46. Unfortunately, the lack of any type of news and data. Yesterday, Merkel, obviously yesterday they had the Eurogroup meetings. Today, not so much. Merkel, the EU needs unity for economic recovery plan. Doesn't really tell us a whole lot. You're hearing a lot of news, talking about it. The challenges now, supporting, economic opening. Banks have sufficient capital to face the COVID-19 crisis. We're not really getting much out there with really either of these two, right? The extension did not happen. There's just no news. There's no catalyst. So again, this is going to be a slow, grindy pair right now. Even dropping it down to the lower time frames here, here's your 30-minute, and that's about the only kind of spike off of this. And even if we had kind of pulled it back up into here, you can see that you would have just missed entry had we really taken it and refined it, just by a little bit. Now, was the trade good? Yeah, it was a nice little bounce, right there, but we missed entry by just a very, very small amount. And again, typically I would say that the 60 and the 30 don't matter as much. Obviously, with less movement, we have to drop to lower time frames to find clean things. I was able to see this on the upper time frame, but again, all we were doing was, saying, hey, look, it pulled back into the wick over wick here, right? Again, on the hourly, same thing. You can kind of see it. 30 minutes is where you can kind of really kind of dial it down. And again, if you dial it too small, you're kind of missing entries. I mean, the risk on this is about 10 pips. If you had taken it off the 4-hour level in here, you're talking about 12. So a lot of times, if I can get 12 on the 4-hour, I tend to be okay with that one. And again, if you would have over refined it, we would have missed, and just, we're close. I would wait till this one comes lower. I mean, this zone is probably valid for one more hit. It did get front run. We do know there are sellers sitting in there, but unfortunately, it's kind of a, it can be on your radar, but we're just not there yet. Coming in at 90.10, 90.11 area. Looking for buys. Let's see. None of them are great. I mean, the best one is obviously, we have the aggressive one here at 89.45. The best one I like is down here, this 88, the 88.85. Looking at where these zones are forming, right? Looking at for the, the pushes down. Obviously, we had basing and then popping here. Here we had a decent push down, and it went into an area where it really wasn't great. This spent way too much time here. This kind of dotted line, though, this base and had a decent pop and then a test and then kind of supporting aspect there. So we know that level is at least tested. So there's two. Again, like on an intraday basis, an 89.46 would be kind of an aggressive entry off the 4-hour because that's the start of the 4-hour zone. And then there's an 88.85. Yeah, there's just not even anything. Yeah, I think the 90.10 or 90.11 is still probably valid for an intraday short. I think it'll go flat from now till then. What I would say and what I would recommend on this one, tonight, I would check 30-minute zones and see if there's something, our normal chart school time, 9, 10 o'clock Eastern. Get out there and look at what the 30-minute level, see if there was any bit of slight movement that could set up some type of Euro open. Again, if we just kind of bounce around here, but then prices rallying up again, a European Open entry would be good for this 90.11, or vice versa, something down here at the bottom. But again, this is going to be more of a nighttime. Let's see what it does today. I mean, again, they only have, 3 hours to go left in this session. And then we'll see if it just continues to get flat, and maybe it will slowly grind back up like this, back up into this entries. Back up into this entry zone. We'll see. Man, I love coffee. All right, euro dollar. So let's go back down to the hourly. You can see lots of chop, lots of chop, lots of chop. All right, so let's make this an actual circle. Let's reset that. And let's bring this one back to 7712, which is right here. Right there. So, was this a big runner? Let's see. At most, we pushed down 25 pips and then pushed back up again, and this is on an hourly basis. We talked about the stabilization on this one, but, really, what did it do? It dropped, it didn't even reach any of the entries, and then just flatlined on us. I would say, besides, again, on an hourly basis, these are probably the best top and bottom. If you wanted to get a bit more aggressive on something lower, and again, this would be kind of, if price can get up there, we maybe, and like I said, I don't know that price is going to get up there in time, but if price can get up to, a level like this, that requires about a 40 pip move, there could be a reversal in that one. Vice versa, I would, still hold firm that this one would be over here. Oops, not that one, this one. Again, that's pulling it from an hourly level. Either of those two would work for some type of a 10 o'clock reversal. Actually, I can put this right here, just so when price reaches down, it's easier to see. Okay. So 112, basically 05 on the downside. 113, 30, 35, 36, just depending on, again, your broker. I can put it slightly higher just in that range. Right now, we got nothing. This one is totally flatlined. Wait for top or bottom. I don't think we'll get the spike today. Maybe, let's see, hold on. What will we get tomorrow? Tomorrow we have the unemployment claims, so that may give us enough of an oomph to get this one moving. As well as we have Eurogroup meeting, so we may get some news out of that. We also have German trade balance, so there may be a bit more movement in this one. Yeah, I would keep these on your radar. I don't know that we're going to get to either of these two today, but they may be good for trade setups tomorrow morning. Okay? Keep those marked off. And again, guys, these are, this is like watching paint dry. If you're sitting there watching charts for 25 pips during the day, you're doing it wrong. set your alerts. Don't sit here and go through this. I mean, literally, the most you had was like, oh my God, in an hour and a half, it moved 16 pips. That's not, again, if it's not there, get up and walk away. There's just no point in sitting here for, no movement. All right. Wait, that should be 12. Yeah, it's 12 right there. Okay, good. All right, dollar CAD. So dollar CAD had a setup. Here was a level that we talked about yesterday. So let's say same thing. Let's mark this. I want to move this guy. Move this across. 7 at 12 is right here. Okay. So this was the level we talked about yesterday at Chart School. We mentioned that it may be good for one more. Again, it pushed pretty deeply into there, but it's the best thing that we got, and it's more of an aggressive entry. This is where we were. We pushed up. We grabbed it. I mean, I think on the 30-minute, it was a little bit better. I don't know why I bumped it down here. It would have definitely been up top. There's no reason to bump this one. You got the hit. I mean, that's the, again, has it moved the full distance? No, not really. Oh, actually, maybe we did just hit it. I thought we had a bit more to go on this one. Right there. So, yeah, we still have a bit more to go. Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't think we had hit it yet. But all it did was it go back and grab the level and pushed. I think this one will continue to push to the downside. I think it is going to have some problems kind of kicking in pretty soon here. I mean, again, obviously there's a pushback right here. That's what we're running into. I think it'll go a bit lower. I think we will go down into kind of probably into this range. This could be a probable target, I can't say probable, but a potential kind of entry for the 10 o'clock time frame. We'll delete. Let me see. Let me save that. Oh, it's going to delete that line on me. Let's see. Let's pull this back over here. Save a reference on that one. This is a potential trade for 10:30. It's got to drop only about 15 pips. So again, in 2 hours, going to drop 15 pips. Its ATR is 13 on and again in the night. 13 pips per 30 minutes. So yeah, we could definitely get down to this level down here at 16. So 135.67 is a potential reversal today at 10 o'clock. And again, depending on, if it hits before, after, doesn't get down there, you could also use this in the opposite direction. There's not a whole lot stabilizing it down. And remember, once this thing tends to get into a trend after 11, when the European markets are closed, it just kind of rolls like that for the day. So, if we do, again, there is a potential short here as well. If we don't get down here before 10 o'clock and we just continue to kind of grind down at like 1 o'clock, we're finally down here, there would be a short position in here looking to target things to the downside. So I would probably do it this way. Oops, not that way. Right there. Okay. So it all depends when we hit this zone. And again, the 1 to 3 on this one is fine. I'll mark this one off top to bottom. Let's see. Turn that blue or green here. And either of those two is probably fine. A lot of it depends on when we hit that level. And again, if you can get the confirmation there, you can always wait for a bounce and the retest off that level. Okay, have it come down, leave the area, touch it, and go. Or vice versa, have it come down, base, drop below, retest it, and then go short. So use that level as, again, your telltale sign whether we're going higher or lower. All right? And again, middle of the curve, so it's totally fine to do that. But a pre-10 o'clock one, 10:31, I'd probably take that long. Just to retrace what we've had in the overnight. All right, going across the dollar yen. So dollar yen, let's see, we have moved officially -8 in 24 hours. So let's reset the timer. Let's move this across. Oops, I don't want to make it bigger. But that's a heck of a circle. It's one of the better circles I've had. 7712 is right here. So you can see a little push down, a little push up, a little push down, and we're sitting right here. So again, sideways movement, rather small. On the 30-minute, this is what we would have been dealing with. All right? Didn't even come all the way up. I guess it did touch the hourly level. There we go. It's like, wait, why is it doing that? Trying to see if on any other time frame, but nope. Nope. Just the one. All right. And actually, we would go back to there. So you guys can see, yeah, there's the hourly level. Right there. It's all right. I mean, it's probably worth one more shot. The fact that it only grazed across it, that's the best kind of top and bottom that we have in a consolidated price range. So, again, this could also be a 10 o'clock potential. Let's change this back to white, not green. Boom there. I'd say probably more top side. It's probably okay. Yeah. I would not use the 1 to 5. The 1 to 3 is fine for that one. Again, coincide that with 10 o'clock in the morning. 10:30. Probably closer to 10:30 because of oil. All right. Again, this is very small. This is small time frame movement, guys. Definitely small. And again, this is done off the hourly. If you go down, if you wanted to reduce it and kind of make this a little bit, let's see how much risk we got. We're only talking about 9 pips risk if you take the hourly. If you really want to make it smaller, you can also use this top one for 6 pips. But you're starting to get, you're starting to get real small as far as, the amount of risk that we're, willing to take. We could dive it all the way down to the 5-minute, but you're not going to get entry. Okay. On that one. Dollar Swiss. So, dollar Swiss, let's see. Where's my button? All right, let's see. 7712 is right here. Okay. So, right there, we'll go down to a 30-minute. You guys can see. So, this is where we were yesterday. And this is where we are now. We're down 6 pips in 24 hours. This one is literally skating the center of the channel, which is crazy. Even with good news, this was unable to really do much. So 94.47 is still the kind of sell range for me. 93.85 is still my buy range. Again, this is a set and alert, wait and hold. Lesson in patience. Not much you can do on this one. It's just 6 pips in 24 hours, completely sideways. There's just nothing we can do with it. What's up, Ray? Good seeing you, buddy. So yeah, not much more to talk about. So NQ. All right, NQ. So a couple different markings on this one. Let's go out just a little bit. We had marked an area off yesterday, so let's bring this and update this guy. Let's bring this across. Let's go back to 7, 7. 7, 8, 8. Yep, we're right. So 7, 7, 12. Right there. So that's where we were yesterday. Is this a crazy bounce? Not really. Not really, right? I would have to say on this one, probably kind of the same movement. Not really a whole lot of news to kind of make this one kind of bounce. Let's see, is that 7, 7, 12? Yeah, right there. 7, 7, 12 is right there. And we talked about it. We were looking for a pullback. We never got that kind of pullback entry. We talked about it retracing yesterday, said that it looked like it wanted to be negative, but we wanted to make sure we got a good entry, and it just pushed. We never got our entry. It did push. It did go down to a zone that we, again, we were looking for as a target zone, and it's still kind of flopped around there right now. Looking at this one now, I would say that it looks like it wants to set up also for a negative day. Its pushes higher. I mean, it fights back and then goes pretty deep. And then, again, pop and rolled over and kind of made another pop. But it keeps running into sellers. And even though there's not really many sellers over here, it's having problems and it keeps getting forced back down again. Obviously, the chart school level over here could be kind of the aggressive entry, but I would still use this box up high. I think that one makes the most sense. And remember, my numbers on ECN are slightly off, but it's approximately at 106.65-ish area. And that's just playing this kind of trending sideways, not expecting too much movement. Going long, I don't actually really even like a lot of the longs here. Again, there was this one level, and we talked about it was a gap, and it hit here again, and now it's been through 3, and now we've actually stabilized in 4. But even, if this is able to pick up some steam, pushing back to the downside, is this level here going to hold? Probably not. I mean, overall, I'd have to think that, some targets to the downside are going to have to be here at 103.51. Because, again, it's spent a lot of time here, right? Big push up, didn't really have too much, and then again the week started and boom, it kind of popped again. So I mean, if this level here fails at 104.85, I would think that we need to be looking basically downside, right? We need to be looking for downside targets to come and push approximately 103.32, right? I'd like to see it push higher. I'd like to see it test this 106.65, but with no catalyst, no real big news, blockbuster news, I don't know that we're going to do a whole lot. Now, Thursday's number, I think the unemployment number could have the potential to move this. The reason I say that is because with states kind of starting to reshut down, the unemployment number is going to spike again. The initial claims, because remember, people that went back to work were not claiming unemployment, but now that they're unemployed again because they were laid off yet again, they will go back and apply for unemployment again. So we will see a burst in that. And the question is, are the forecasts predicting and able to keep up with that? I don't know. I don't know what the actual shutdown numbers are going to look like, or where they're going to, attempt to pull the. I mean, I guess they have internal data for states for unemployment, but the question is how fast. And I'm assuming people this time are not going to mess around. I'm assuming that they will go and get those unemployment claims because they've just done it. They know how to do it. There will not be the delay. There will be a faster kind of uptick in unemployment claims than what the forecast is. And again, that could really, that could put a kind of a little kink in the overall kind of rally in the markets. So again, we could be looking at downside targets. And again, look for a Harry Potter. Look for a break of it, or retest, a grab, and then a push lower. And your 1 to 5, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, I think are both fine here. Looking at the S&P. So S&P, we had talked about 32, around 32.19 and 31.21. This one I actually didn't have a label on, so I'll go ahead and put it on there now. Let's go down to the hourly. Let's see. Let's reset it, confirm it, go back and do 7.12, which is right here. This one kind of had the same thing. We said, hey, listen, we need to go just a bit higher, and we weren't. We talked about it being negative, but we missed that entry, and all it did was push back down, and now it's stabilized. Okay, so for me on this one, we have sells up here, and again, that level is actually not horrible. It went up at base once and then pushed it down. So approximately, and again, remember, ECN's data numbers are slightly off. 31.74-ish area would be where we have sells. 31.21 would be where we have buys, and again, we're kind of sitting right in no man's land, right in the middle right now with the sideways movement. Let's see if we can get up or down, particularly around 10 o'clock. Today, the 10:30, either of these two would not be bad. If we can, market opens and we can drive to either of those two. I actually like both of those. But again, a lot of consolidation in this market. Dow. All right. So this is one of those positions. Again, I covered it yesterday for Nadex. It was a position that we had talked about. It was a wick over wick. It was a retested wick over wick, so we knew to prepare for it. Wanted to leave it on in case you missed yesterday's session, but I'll take it off now. Again, we've talked about that setup a couple times today, so we'll remove that. All right, so let's move that out of the way. Oop. I don't know what we just did. We made it too small. All right, so we'll build another one. Confirmed at 8, 7 at 12 is right here. I don't know. It's really disliking that thing. Let's see. This 7 at 12 is right here. Right there. Okay. All right, so it really doesn't like this thing. So I'm going to have to put a box because boxes are a little bit better in control. Don't know why this one doesn't like circles. Anyway, here's what we drew yesterday. Again, we were kind of in that side thing. And we mentioned this, waiting for kind of a failure to go higher. This one actually gave it to you. I can go down to the lower time frame and you guys can see. Let's clean that up. Go all the way across. There was that kind of, you guys can see the box is right here. Angle properties. We'll just change it to pink to make it a little easier. You guys can see it right there. So there would have been your push down. There is one entry. There's a second entry, drop. And again, I had to go the 15-minute to fully show it. You can see it on the 30, but it's a little bit busy. Again, there was your basing. You can see it touching the orange right here. I can zoom in just to make sure everybody knows that, look, it definitely hit the orange. It's into the box. Here, I'll shrink this a bit. Let's make sure it's right. Yeah, 12 is right there. So here's where we were. And again, this is that pattern we mentioned. It goes up, it pulls down, gives us some white space underneath, and then goes back up and retests that level. So again, this was another one. Actually, I didn't catch this one. I don't follow the indices during the day as much. So there would have been two really nice setups from yesterday's chart school. And you can see, came up, dropped all the way down. The 1 and 3 and the 5 were both hit. I would say that this level is probably good for one more hit. The reaction off of it was pretty good. That level is approximately around 26, 112. Again, I like the reaction. When it did touch, it had a really nice push off of there. So look for that one today as well. Zoom out. Let's see. Yeah, that'd be good if we can get back up to that level. Long wise, I would still wait till we get back down. There'll be a small level sitting right here. There's going to be a small level right here. Change this to white. Okay, there's going to be a small level there. This is a big kind of spike down. I would really say that kind of the two places that I'd be looking for are potential longs. And again, this one, because it's higher, you know, it's a gap, but it's a little bit higher. But 25,766 and 25,553 would be two potential long areas. Like I said, be a bit cautious with this one, particularly around news. Nice buy, nice sell area. And again, that was the second setup from yesterday, which again, I don't even follow this one during the day. But the analysis is the same. So gold we mentioned yesterday, and remember when I said this, okay? Let me put this on there. I said that this had a potential setup if it kind of pulled away, which it really didn't pull away. It just kind of stabilized here. So 7.7 at 12. I said we were at a high. I said maybe there'll be something in this one. There wasn't. Okay, we talked about the 17s, 795, and when we were talking about it, it's like, is it going to push down? Is it going to go back? And it did here, kind of. Then it pushed higher again. It did not fail to go higher. It kind of did it here, but again, it stabilized and based right here. It never left the area. Remember, I used this white box, and I said, if we go below this is truly the trigger that, hey, listen, it's time to get short the position. We'll have a confirmation to the downside, because again, we had the ascending wicks in here. It just stayed in the area and went higher. So again, that's going to happen. Right now, we're waiting for that same thing somewhere up in here. Let's take this one off. Oops. Don't need that. That's fine. So waiting for the same pattern. We want that fair to go higher. We just don't have it yet. I mean, we're just not there. We got to wait for that position to actually, come in. We thought maybe it could be forming, but we never got it. Again, remember I talked about we were looking for this big push. We didn't get it. So looking for the same thing. This one's in a holding pattern, larger time frame wise. Again, we're not going to pick the high on this one. And really, even to go long, I don't really, nothing that super excites me in this one. This level's okay, but it's been badgered around. If anything, I'd still be waiting for gold to kind of collapse. And if it doesn't collapse, no big deal. But I think this would be a good entry for a short. And the 1 to 3 and the 1 to 5 are both in great positions if we can come back to the downside. And that will come in, again, around 1793. If it continues to push higher, all we're looking for is a failure to go higher, right? We're looking for a push up, a base, a drop, a pullback down, and then a retest of that prior high candle, the body and the top of the wick. If we can get that, we have an entry. If not, not much we can do with gold. Okay. Silver. So silver, let's see. Silver yesterday, we were sitting 7.712 right here. And again, this was the basically the same exact setup as well. And what did we talk about? We were up in an area. We were looking for it to pull back. Would we get it? And the question was, not really. It did pull back down. It was just outside the zone, but kind of gave us the same signal. I mean, look at all these little tiny, just not much. The overnight at about 3 o'clock in the morning is where this one really started to move. I would say this one, to me, it's a little bit more convincing to the downside. I think this one will probably come back and kind of rest itself in the same area. And again, waiting for that same kind of combination, right? That same kind of failure to go higher, kind of this situation, right? Something that looks like, that, where we have a nice push away, it kind of reestablishes itself and wants to come back up. Obviously didn't get it here. We didn't get enough pull away. We just kind of stayed in that same exact range, but waiting for this. Maybe this will be it. Okay, maybe this will be the push down, in which case, really you'll be using a 15-minute most likely. And, this could potentially be, that could potentially be the entry if we kind of pull back up to that zone. But right now, that's about all we got. We're kind of in the same holding pattern. Now, what everybody's been waiting for, let's go across and look at the oil. So, as you guys can see, here's where we are right now. I hate the time on this one, but here's where we are now. Yesterday at the same time, we were sitting right here. Okay, so the Nadex presentation was right about here yesterday at noon. We talked about it going just a bit farther. We'd like to be kind of at that 41 area to be looking to take a short. It kind of turned on us. We got up to 40.92, and we were within 10 cents basically, and we missed the entry. And then it pulled back down and then just flatlined on us. It is rallying right now. Markets are open. We may get a little bit of a push. The way that it's looking right now, it looks like what the best that I could say is it looks like it wants to start kind of forming a push up into that zone. So one possible scenario, and again, we have an hour and a half, so there's a lot of time for this to kind of move around, right? But, and again, I'll drop it on a 30-minute. It looks like it's given us the opportunity that we're going to see the number. We could get a spike into that zone to take it short, to drop it. So what will happen is that number will come in. We will have a surplus, which will be a miss of, again, if it's 3, that will give us a miss of 5 million barrels. The initial response is, holy crap, that's a big thing. We need to short, which will send this thing straight up in the air to take out those shorts, run into an area of supply, and then turn and flip. I was kind of hoping this one would be gone already by this morning and we could use the top one because I do like the 41.57 better. I think that is a better level up there than the 41.04. But at this point, we gotta kind of say, hey, listen, that's all we got. If we get a spike to take out shorts because of the supply number, again, that'll give us the entry to the downside. So 41.04, again, this is set up for your 1 to 3. If you wanted to know where this level was, the profit target is, that would be at, what is that, 40, I had it on there a second ago, 40.35. Kind of sitting right there. Okay. Couple different ways to play that one. Futures is fine. You could play it in Nadex as well. Remember, though, the best knockout for this one is sitting up here. All right, so there's not even anything. Let me log in real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything. So what do you guys think of the new Nadex platform? I don't know if you guys have looked at it, or the new Nadex website. I had an interesting discussion with them yesterday, and I voiced my opinion. I said that I understand why they did it, but it feels like an overly mobile design platform. So in designing websites, not that I am a website builder by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have 2 different websites that we kind of maintain and build, and kind of I know there are some programs that are better than others for building landing pages and things like that. When you build them, you typically build them in the ones that I've dealt with, right? You typically build them in desktop format, and then you click a button and it says, okay, this is what it looks like for mobile, and you change the fonts for mobile, and you remove some of the pictures because it's not needed and things like that. I feel like they built it based off of a mobile platform only. And then they hit the button. It's like, okay, and if it works on mobile, it definitely works on desktop. I just feel like that's kind of how it was built. So the oil knockouts, the ceiling is a 41.75, so it really needs to be up here. Just not really. Just shows how little movement we've had this week, right? We still have, again, this is Wednesday, and we're still in 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Shows how little movement we've really had in these. Curious, let's see. 1, 2, 5, and 7. So we had just enough movement in the euro. Early week. We had just enough. A little bit more. There you go. Dollar yen. 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Wednesday. This one is 2, 3, 4, and 6. So we've blown up 1. I guess we've blown up 2, right? Because 5 would have been in here, and we're on 6. So it looks like it just retraced back. This is actually probably the original one. We pushed down and came back, so we probably knocked out number 1 and it printed 5, and then we went right back to where we started, which knocked number 5 out to 6. That's pretty much how we get 2, 3, 4. So yeah, just not enough movement on these things right now. And it's July. What are you gonna do? Not much to say about that one. Fast fun trading. Yeah, that was something that they did. They came out with that a little while ago. They were trying to go for like this adrenaline kind of. I don't know. I don't know if it was like an adrenaline junkie thing. I mean, they're seeing great numbers right now. Supposedly, they've had a lot of new entrants into the market, so they feel that the new website and the new platform and the new products has been good for Nadex. They've seen a surge of new people coming in, which I thought was strange. And again, I don't know how much of that is COVID based versus the new platform or the new products. I still find some things confusing, and unfortunately, I did check, guys. They are aware of the problems. They told me to. I have direct access into one of the guys that deals with platforms, and they say, "Hey, listen, coming from you, they'll definitely take it, into consideration." Which I felt honored that I'm considered a trusted partner of theirs. They take my suggestions. The guy, unfortunately, is on vacation this week. He actually left this morning or yesterday afternoon. So he's gone for the next week. But I have a call plan with him, so I'm gonna kind of voice like, listen, we need the refresh button. This needs to come back in. I had an interesting conversation with them yesterday about the tear-off tickets. I said it still drives me nuts that I need to click on an actual binary for the chart to pop, but then if I click on another one of the things to look at the binaries, the chart doesn't change. And they're like, well, it's because of the tear, but we have tear-off tickets for multiple monitors. And I was like, yeah, I trade on 3, but it doesn't mean that everybody trades on multiple monitors. And I feel that the correct way to do that is to have the tear off option, right? And once you tear off, it's no longer linked. But I feel like the center area needs to be linked. Okay. I'll show you what I mean here in a sec. Hold on. Just so you guys kind of know what I'm talking about. Oops. Okay. Great. Good. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. Let's see. Let me pull this across. So like, say I click on, I don't know, 5-minute binaries, right? What I'm talking about is this. So if I click on one, I need to click on one of these to get the chart, which I think is ridiculous. I think when I click on the pound, I think I should get it. Like if I click on the euro, I should get it. So once this is up, yes, I can do what I'm saying is, what if I accidentally, or the baby accidentally clicks the euro? The chart does not change. And I feel that that's a problem. They said, well, because we have tear-offs, I said, okay, fine. When you do the tear-off, okay, the tear-off should no longer be linked to anything you do over here. So if I want to drag this to a separate monitor, great. I should be able to drag it to a second monitor. But if I click pound yen over here to look at these strikes, this chart should be linked to whatever I click. And I shouldn't have to click on a binary because I don't care why should I have to click on these different binaries? And like, oh, well, because you can see it. Like, I don't care. It's more the charting that I'm worried about. If I can't have reliable charting here for this on like an instantaneous when I click it, the charting's gonna be better elsewhere. I have more options. So that's what I should feel. That's what I feel like we should have. And he's like, that's a valid point. I like that. That once it becomes click off, then it's not linked anymore. So when I click this, I don't accidentally click this and say, okay, this one's got the risk level I like. Let me take this one. And then because I'm looking over here. See what I'm saying? I just think that this needs to be linked a bit more. So I think there are certain individuals that were too focused on the tear-off ticket aspect of it, not realizing that somebody new is not going to have a multiple monitor setup. The tear-offs are not going to be big to them, but it's most important that they're able to stay on, like if I click this one, if I'm going to look at, like, listen, it's not working. I want to do my analysis. I don't want to click on a binary. I don't want all this. The chart still hasn't changed, right? Oh, okay, I got to click on this one. But now it's like, okay, now I got to do a lot of scrolling to get down and look over here. But wait, I'm not doing anything. Okay, let me click on this one. Oh, wait, I got to do all this. You see, there's like all these extra steps. And they say that they're getting great feedback, but I just don't think it's not as simple as it could be. And I also think if I click on tech here, or one of these, again, it should close, but I should be able to click this, get the chart. I should be able to click any of these things. It should switch and they should automatically close. Now, if I click on S&P 500, this should close, but the strike shouldn't pop up because, I may want these, but I may want these, And you see how I got to scroll up and down for it now. And it's like, okay, well, those are okay, but wait, I could take these and then let me see these over here, but then let me go back and compare them again. It's just too much clicking. So those are some of the feedbacks. So I'm going to talk to the guy next week and see if we can get just a little bit more simplification. I think that there are things that they can definitely do to make it simpler for everybody and still be a valid platform. So exactly on the turn. Is fun an emotion? Fun is an emotion. I know whoever asked me about Nadex. What are you saying? Did I tell you? I knew Ernest might change. Yeah. They're going to make it simple. Fun delivers an emotion. Yeah. Yeah. They want to make it easier for people to enter orders. Because remember, as an exchange, they only make money when people trade. If they make it too difficult to trade or people are making errors because it's not simple, again, that hurts their bottom line. So I think it will make some, again, being remote has been difficult for them. So being remote. All right, guys. So with that said, let's go ahead and do the drawing. I got 8 people in. We got about 17 in the channel. For the new people, go ahead and hit exclamation point ticket. It gets you the option to, basically it gives you the ability to win additional pip chips. It's the channel's currency. You can buy things like mentoring. We can do like a one-on-one 30-minute. We can talk about anything trading related you want. Your setups, your strategy, setups I've talked about, different terminology that I use if you're trying to figure that out and things. So you're more than welcome to do that. If you guys, as we are, again, I will shut this down at 1:06. We will close the giveaway for the drawing. If there is something that you guys want me to analyze, let me know. I know we had a gentleman, I don't know if he's in here today. I haven't been following as much. Carnival Cruise Line. I don't remember who it was. I forget what the guy's name is. And I'm horrible with names. So, but he was looking at Carnival Cruise Line for a while. He had some options in Carnival Cruise Line. And the chart still is populated. Let's see. Is it still there? Yeah, it's still there. And here's kind of, here's that Carnival Cruise Line chart that we've been kind of talking about. Okay. Now, one thing that we did mention, remember guys, when there's so many hits in a specific area, we need to get out. Here was another zone that we talked about. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. And what is it doing? It is now faltering and going lower, right? Top side as well, we had a gap here. We ended up hitting it again, and it drove down. We hit it here, it drove down again, and we didn't make it the third time. But again, technically it's 1, 2, 3. Top side, it's going to break, right? Same thing. 1 formation, 1, 2. This one's good. Over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 broke. So I don't know where my Carnival Cruise Line guy is, but yeah, we've talked about levels and stabilization and holding, and yeah, it's still continuing to push to the downside for that Carnival Cruise guy. I don't think he's here. Yes, leave. All right, so 20 seconds more, and I will go ahead and close this one down. We need like some music. 7, 6, 5, and by the time I hit the button, you guys are, some of you guys are a minute behind. All right, there we go. All right, so the winner yesterday was La Morena. So if La Morena is the winner today, she will get an additional 100 pip chips into the total. She, I believe, is in 3rd place right now. She's literally right behind Ernest and Will up top. Will, don't forget, you redeemed the trading session, but I have not got an email about what time you've set up the mentoring session. So it's still over there. Just don't forget. I sent you the link. I know you're going to check it out. And it's whenever you're ready for it, Will. It's fine. But I just want to make sure, don't forget that you've redeemed some pip chips. And, you still have that thing. So, winner of today's drawing is... Draw the winner. Oh, there's 2. Ernest wins this one. Obviously, there was a delay in it. It's the first one through. I did hit it twice. I mean, I can end up doing, I can do as many as I want and continue to have everybody win, but Ernest wins the first one. He was the first click. It's weird. I've never had it delay like that before. But yeah, it delayed. Look at it. I can make everybody win. It doesn't affect anything. But yeah, so Ernest wins today. I will mark the giveaway as complete. So La Morena did not double up. This is actually, I think, the first one that Ernest has won in like a month? I feel like it's been like a month, and he's pulling a little bit away from Will here. Will's close, but look at this. The girls are hot on your heels, guys. Hot on your heels. All right? Take that. Ernest wins 1, and he's like, stick it to him. Take it. Take it. All right. So guys, I will pull this in real quick just so you guys have it if you guys want to get one more glimpse of where we're looking for today. Like I said, U.S. market open in the next 20 minutes will give us a little bit of a bounce. Everything is basically in consolidation mode across the board. Euro dollar, yeah, it says it's in an uptrend confirmed. It's minus 2 pips in 24 hours. Everything is basically sitting in this flat range right now. Again, watch out for this. This is the best setup we have today. Right, this is the best setup is oil inventories. Everything else in 24 hours, totally flat. Welcome to July trading. If you can grab your 30 pips, take it and run. Otherwise, be safe. Set some alerts. Don't sit in front of, don't watch the computer. Go outside and enjoy the weather if you can. But be safe. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, guys, actually, if you guys like the 8 o'clock window, I can actually do another 8 o'clock tomorrow. I was going to do a 12. But if 8 o'clock works, let's just do 8 o'clock, get everything done before the day starts. Because tomorrow, remember, tomorrow we have this data coming in at 8:30. So I'm going to make sure, again, if we can get some data in and get some levels set before the 8:30 news release, we kind of falter off very, very fast after that. So let's log back in tomorrow at 8 a.m. If you guys need anything today, I will be on Discord. If you have any questions, shoot me a message there. You guys have a great one, and I will catch you tomorrow.